Hi guys! So, andito ako ngayon sa NASA Space Center, Houston, Texas. So, tara na at tingnan natin anong meron. Hi again guys! So, we are here now in Space Center. It is the Science Museum which serves as the official visitor center of NASA Johnson Space Center. It is located here in Houston, Texas. The museum displays 400 space artifacts, permanent and traveling exhibits, and theater with a focus on the history of the human space flight program. The Johnson Space Center is the home of mission control and astronaut training. So here we are going to a tram tour for Apollo mission control, wherein we were able to see the Astronaut Facility Center where they are going to train and working and learning. So I suggested you better download the app of Space Center so it will be more easier and quick for you to reserve a slot for your tour, so you don't have to fall in line if you have that app wherein you can just reserve what time you want.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Astronaut Training Facility. Ever since this building opened in 1966, astronauts have always come here to prepare for their jobs in space. Currently, NASA astronauts and engineers have been practicing and updating hardware for our current space station missions, as well as preparing us for our next generation space flight into deep space, using the Artemis program inside this building. The large white and gray cylinders you see here make up a scale mock-up of the International Space Station that is orbiting us right now. These are what we call low-fidelity mock-ups, which means it's used for basic astronaut training, such as safety or storage procedures. Astronauts use these mock-ups to prepare themselves for living aboard the ISS. The ISS is the largest orbiting laboratory ever built, and is roughly the size of an American football field. Now, the ISS is a partnership of 5 different space agencies totaling 15 nations. Together, the United States, Russia, Canada, Europe, and Japan have been working together for over 20 years to create the largest international peacetime collaboration in history. Now, in 2020, astronauts have begun launching from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida once again. However, this time, NASA has enlisted SpaceX and Boeing to transport our astronauts to and from the ISS. These companies are part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, which began in 2014. And sweat is filtered for reuse. And yes, you are allowed to say ew to that. In fact, the high standard filtration technology is one of the many technologies developed by NASA that can be found in your home today. Now, another such technology is one that you probably use today to get to Space Center Houston. In fact, the GPS on your phone was originally designed for the Apollo program to track astronauts on the moon. So you quite literally have space technology in your pocket. Now, if you take a look on the ISS model on the back of the wall in front of the black banner, you'll notice the blue solar panels. The ISS is powered by solar energy. These panels can be rotated by personnel and mission control to maximize the amount of sunlight captured. Panels on the ISS are currently being upgraded to boost the power capacity to a maximum of 215 kilowatts of energy.
Wow.
Alrighty, at this time, if y'all can please follow me down to our second stop.
During our tour, we were lucky because we were able to see the real astronaut. Look at that guy. He's the real astronaut and having some, interview. So our tour guide said we are lucky to see him because it really not happen most of the time.
Now we take a look on the opposite wall of the building, right under the banner that says Space Vehicle Mock-Up Facility, you'll see another white capsule. This is the Orion Capsule that I talked about earlier when we passed by Building 17. Engineers and astronauts have been doing extensive training to prepare the capsule for its first mission into deep space, which will take place later this year in November. While the first flight will be uncrewed, it'll mark the start of our Artemis program, with crewed missions scheduled to begin in 2023. Orion draws its overall design from our earlier Apollo spacecraft. However, Orion is much larger, capable of carrying 4 astronauts into deep space. Now, if you take a look to the right of the Orion, you'll see 2 of NASA's prototype human landing systems. The large 2-story spacecraft with the gold legs is National Team's Human Landing System. 5 separate space companies developed the lander, with each one responsible for making a critical component of the spacecraft. The gold descent module is compatible with using lunar material for power, which will allow for a long-duration lunar exploration. This efficiency will also allow NASA to have more routine missions and open a sustainable pathway to Mars, and allows them to stay on the lunar surface for up to 1 week. The Alpaca is capable of leaving Earth and operating uncrewed 3 months before astronauts arrive into lunar orbit. As of April 2021, NASA is no longer funding these landing systems since SpaceX's Starship was awarded the full contract. Now, unfortunately, SpaceX does like to keep all of their toys over in California, so we won't be able to see one of those today. Now we take a look in front of the Orion, and in the center of the building, close to the astronaut, you'll see a large gray tube-like structure. This walk-up is a part of the Lunar Orbital Platform Gateway. Gateway will be an international partnership between 14 nations, similar to the space station, where each one will be responsible for maintaining and operating the different modules put into lunar orbit. This 2-inch humanoid robot designed to help our astronauts work and live in deep space habitats, and here on Earth to assist in natural disaster relief. It also looks like we're in for another treat. It looks like they're actually testing out Valkyrie today. Now, her hands are dexterous enough in order to operate just as well as a human hand. She can even use power tools just like us and turn a single page of a book without ripping it. Now, something cool about Valkyrie that we'll get a chance to see today, maybe, is that they actually control the robot using an Xbox controller and a virtual reality headset. Now, unfortunately, her legs cannot support her own weight very well, which is why you see her hung up on these bars over here. Now, we're currently working on that, but if you'd like to check out Valkyrie yourself, she has her own Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channel, all written on the whiteboard right behind her. I can proudly say that I am an avid follower of her Instagram. Now, you can see what she does for a living, or just check up on her progress from time to time. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude our time here at the Astronaut Training Facility. A few reminders before we head back down to the tram. First off, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to ask me down at the bottom of the stairs. Also, please make sure you return to the same seats on the tram. Now, thank y'all so much for your attention, and I hope that you enjoyed today. Alrighty, y'all. We're going to head right over here.
Come here.
That's a rocket ship.
In front of me is a mighty and massive Saturn V Rocket here in NASA Johnson Space Center. It is the tallest and heaviest and most powerful rocket ever flown. NASA used the colossal Saturn V rocket primarily during the Apollo program to send Americans to the moon. Just imagine seeing it in person. It's super fulfilling and I'm super blessed and happy na makita ito siya right in front of me. As in, sobrang laki at ang haba niya. Just imagine na makikita mo to sa personal. Kaya I'm so thankful and blessed na makita mo talaga ito. There are only 3 Saturn V rocket on display in the world. The rocket at NASA Johnson Space Center is the only one comprised of all flight certified hardware. The other 2 rockets are made of flight hardware, mock-ups, and test components. The 3 segments called stage contain the powerful engines needed to lift off, entering orbit to reach the moon. In total, 13 Saturn V rockets launched into space.
comfortable. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Floating. Oh, look at how they shower.
How they shower. And that's how they eat.
Sleep compartment. Waste management compartment. Lower body negative pressure instrument. Bicycle in. That's how they shower. It's like space storage locker.